as you see, the quality level is as high as always in the Israeli intelligence. Like, I mean, these kind of like charades or jokes or practical pranks, they never lose their vitality. That, I mean, if you hang down to reach something, to take something from the floor, they hang the car. Or, I mean, if you use the hookah, I mean, they hang, I mean, anything that's kind of like, I mean, vaguely related in the most associative way to sex, specifically anal sex, is kind of like an event in the Israeli intelligence, like something, even during the time in the middle of a war. I mean, it's still an event that should be celebrated. These are the people, and it's like that for many, many years. These are the people. I mean, these are the people. I spoke about the S-God 2 times, the theology of the S-God, and unfortunately, I don't remember the names of the videos, and it was actually both episodes were part of larger videos, and now I lament I don't have it like in a separate playlist, like the two episodes regarding the S-God, because I mean I think it's kind of like, I mean, kind of like a Catholic style theology that explains the religion of the Israeli intelligence. I'll try to search for it and like re-edit it to like one, you know, big part that will be like the Summa Esologica of the Esologica of these people. Of tone S, Aku in S. Someday I'll tell you the story that happened very early in this journey, maybe 4 years ago, when I thought that, I mean, I must go to the grave of Martin Buber. Like, I had this kind of like a notion that I must do it, I must go there. So, I mean, he's buried in the Har Tzofim, no, he's buried in Har HaMenuchot. He's buried in like the main Jerusalem grave, which is, yes, in like the main grave, like it's relatively close to the entrance of Jerusalem. What's the name now? I forgot it. I mean, very big graveyard. Har HaMenuchot, whatever, I mean, but there is another name, more common. Anyway, I went there, so actually it took me a lot of time to find it, like, because, I mean, but it was interesting to see many other stuff as well. Like, I mean, it was quite it was a nice cemetery experience. But eventually I found the Chelkat HaProfesorim, as they say. So I found this grave, and it was already started to rain. It was after several hours of, like, I mean, going, like, walking there, because I lost my way. And I kind of, like, I mean, so I toured many other graves. So eventually it began to be even a little bit dark and, like, raining. But finally I found Chelkat HaProfesorim. And then I searched for his grave, and after some time I found it, and it was already very rainy. And on top of his tombstone, first of all, there is I was surprised to see that there is that the tombstone has engraved like a verse that is associated with eternal life, like, I mean, with the notion of, like, I know, of like people like Hanoch, that, I mean, that are taken, I mean, while they are still alive, to the heaven, and so they never die. And this was like shocking experience, because during the time I was deeply, I mean, as you might expect, I understood that I'm not Homo sapiens, and I was deeply kind of like, I mean, I always thought about, like, I mean, you know, the idea of, like, I mean, being like saraf, or it's the term that I do not use anymore. I mean, mostly I use the term now cherubs and titans, as you know. I do not use the term saraf, but sarafim, but actually you can find it in very early text, I mean, from 4 years ago. So I was socially, I mean, I was the kind of, like, you know, I was like deeply, you know, I mean, you know, submerged, like, in the issue of, like, I mean, eternal life, and, like, and life, like, I mean, of non-human creatures and earth. And so I've seen this kind of, like, and should say that this is not normal, like, I mean, you know, there's like cliches that, I mean, you know, there's like, I mean, you know, the stock, you know, stock photos, like, you know, of like, I mean, stock verses of like, I mean, that everybody like puts on their tombstone down. So, I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, the normal, the normal verses. So, but it's not about one of it at all. It's kind of like, it's actually very peculiar and even, I mean, if it's the person that was kind of like, I mean, a prophet, and more, I mean, according to, I mean, both according to many people that knew him, but also to some extent to himself. And so I was kind of like shocked about this verse, but what I already like, but I also found on the grave, actually one of his books, but a very lesser known books. I actually have many of his books, and I've read it, but this is like one of the least known of his books. I don't even remember the name, and it was in Russian, I think, like not in Hebrew. But the rain already, I mean, destroyed the cover because it was raining. Someone put it there, like, I mean, not much long before I was there. But the rain already, I mean, it was raining, so it already ruined the cover. So the title wasn't, you couldn't see the title. You couldn't see the title. You hear the zombies? You couldn't see the title. You could see only part of the title. And because it was deleted, it looks like the title is Summa Theologica, because one of his books is titled like in a way that is similar to the name Summa Theologica of famously the book of Aquinas. Of course, intentionally so. But because it was deleted several letters, it seems like this is Summa Theologica. Of course, it's not, because it's actually a relatively thin volume, and Summa Theologica is very big. But so I understood, I mean, and this is, but I mean, I thought, okay, so, I mean, this is, I must like start to read Thomas Aquinas, and after that I started to actually read Thomas Aquinas. And I refer to him quite a bit in this channel, but also moreover in other social networks before this channel. So this was, I mean, just to show you that, I mean, my interest on like in grave robbing and grave digging and tomb raiding did not start during the Reagan era. I mean, I actually done such things before. So so in a very short while we'll start with science. We'll start with two samples from the container, just to see that, I mean, everything is okay, and it's also used as a reference, because after that we will use the same. I've taken like maybe a spoon and place it in a separate container, and the same mixture will be used if we find that it actually contains Neros as expected, will be used for the Colosseum. So these two slides will actually, I mean, both like show us everything is okay with the container, nothing, I mean, catastrophe didn't happen. Hopefully, and then, I mean, it will be used as a reference for the next videos that will be kind of like the Colosseum, in which we will pit these Neros against life form that will take form the rotten beans that I have on outside the window. And in the middle, probably I'll do the second autopsy of the Full Metal Jacket. That's just because I promised to do it. So I mean, so we'll do it as well.